Good afternoon. Who is Scott? When I was reflecting on this exercise and thinking about who I was, it came down to a couple of lessons learned I've had in my life. So I'm going to take you through some of those lessons learned. And really it starts out when I joined the Navy. I joined the Navy at 18 years old out of Detroit, Michigan. Senior year, 9/11 happened. So it kind of motivated me to move forward. They call us 9/11 babies that joined around that time frame. But there was another reason I joined. I didn't do that well in high school. Let's just say high school wasn't my specialty. Let's get to the stats here. 1.89 GPA. I ranked 110 out of 111 students. My best friend was 111. Shows you where I was at in life at the time. And I got in a lot of trouble. So joining the Navy was something of interest to me for a couple reasons. So I was talking to my career counselor one day, and she's like, "Hey, what do you want to do in life? You want to go work at the assembly line in Detroit, or go to community college?" I was like, "I don't know if school's really working out for me, but you think that?" She's like, "Maybe." I said, "You know what? I want to join the Navy." And she told me that day, "That is the dumbest thing I've heard." She's like, "That's a terrible idea." I don't hold anything against her. You got to think Michigan's a different area. Michigan doesn't know about the military and the benefits to it. Especially at that time, around 9/11, things were kind of risky and whatnot. So I don't blame it for her. But that lesson learned in life taught me to trust my gut instinct. Because when she told me that, I knew at that very moment, I'm going to join. Why? Because I'm going to do the opposite of what somebody tells me to do. It's kind of rebellious at the time anyways. But that taught me in life, trust your gut. So the next 9 years of my life, I was enlisted. And one of those things that I learned during that time frame is you have some pretty crazy jobs. One of those crazy jobs, a lot of times on the ship, was cleaning the toilets. It's a nasty job, and it's gross. But one of the things I learned, and a lesson learned out of that, is no matter the job, if you're cleaning a toilet, you're working on a flight deck of an aircraft carrier, or you're giving a speech at Toastmasters, you give your best. You make that the shiniest toilet ever, or you make it the best speech you can, no matter what. After that, about 9 years in, I got a chance and earned a commissioning in the United States Navy as an officer. Big opportunity for me, and also one of those things I've always wanted to do. Now during that time frame, I got accepted, but I had to go through a medical screening. And when I was going through the medical screening, they told me I had high blood pressure. Huh? I'm like 29 years old and I got high blood pressure. But yeah, I was like, "Is that an issue?" They're like, "Yeah, it disqualifies you." I'm like, "What?" And for the next 3 weeks, I was going through different tests and whatnot so the doctors could figure it out. But it was the most stressful 3 weeks of my life because it was this dream in front of me, this big dream I had, and it was about to get knocked down. So everything worked out, and by the way, I don't have high blood pressure. The doctors were reading it incorrect. But I was also stressing out a lot, which causes your blood pressure to go up when you go and talk to the doctors. So everything worked out just fine. But what I learned in that situation is some things you can't control. You have to trust. For me, it's trusting God. I needed to trust Him in that instant right there, instead of thinking I could control the situation. I can't control my blood pressure when it goes up and down, especially when you're stressing out. The next thing I learned, a big lesson I had in life, was my first tour as an officer. That was probably the roughest tour ever. I worked around some older guys that were really, really salty. And salty in the Navy means just experienced and gruff. Just imagine those guys or those ladies around you that are just tough on you. These guys were tough on me. They wouldn't let me get away with anything. I was just trying to do a really good job and be a great leader. And they pretty much just pushed me down every day. It was rough, and I don't wish that upon anybody, but I'm sure everyone in this room has experienced something to that nature. So when I experienced that, and I got through it all, I can look back on it and like, you know what? What did I learn from that? I learned to show up every day, no matter what. And I learned that it toughened me up. Because I can go into a lot of situations now and just deal with it, because it's never going to be bad as that situation right there. Today, those life lessons have taught me a lot of things, but it's also made me a better father, a better husband, and a better leader. And if you would have told me at 18 years old, back in Detroit, Michigan, that I was going to be at MPS, getting a master's degree, as a naval officer, I would have laughed at you. And I think a lot of people would have laughed about it at that time. I'm just curious, though, what the career counselor would say nowadays. She's saying that this was a bad idea and a bad choice for me? Who knows? Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.